Here's a random wood block for no reason. Dude, I just want to get down at that. I want to get down with that at a discotheque.
Yeah.
In Berlin.
So, we are talking RoboCop.
Did I ever tell you about my dancing
3.
at a discotheque in München? It's called Kennedy's. Did I ever tell you about that?
No.
So JFK is a huge
President.
He's a huge figure in Germany.
Yeah.
Because he said the Ich bin ein Berliner speech at the wall. Back when the Berlin Wall was erected. But there's this huge.
You turn the board.
Yeah, you gotta turn it up. There's a huge picture of JFK on the wall, and I'm trying to dance with these European, teenage girls like my age, because I'm 18. And it's really weird to me because I'm trying to get it on in front of a picture of JFK. Not get it on,
Sloppy.
Yep. Yep. You know what I was hoping that one of those ladies would say after a night of dancing, that they would like to
having sex with you.
Yeah, with me.
We'll be
Having sex with you.
All right.
all right. Want to turn that shit up.
I used to have a drink token from it. It was just
Damn it! I hit the long one.
It's okay because you know what? We should be thinking of the comedy. That wasn't funny. What are we talking about?
Thanks, heel versus fuckface.
Thanks for bringing us back to the topic.
Talk about RoboCop Trace, RoboCop 3.
My fucking
from
God.
1993.
Ah!
So I had seen this in bits and pieces as a kid. I don't remember any of it. So it was pretty much like both of us were watching this for the first time.
Yeah, I will say this. When we first started doing RoboCopalooza, just for shits and gigs, I've gone to Wikipedia and read the plot synopsis of movies that I haven't seen or maybe will never see. And RoboCop 3 was one of them. So I kind of knew sort of the convoluted... the plot is just so fucking convoluted. But please continue. So
Yeah.
I've kind of... You've seen it in bits and pieces, and I kind of sort of had read the plot at one point, but I didn't remember it.
Yeah, so basically, what kills me about this movie is we spend 15, maybe?
20, almost 20 minutes.
Almost 20 minutes of not seeing RoboCop in RoboCop 3. And when they do the reveal of RoboCop, it's almost like they're revealing the character for the first time.
Yes.
Like, RoboCop
They
2,
can't see who's in the cop car.
a great example of why RoboCop 2 is better than I remember is it knows that it's a sequel to RoboCop, so we get to RoboCop in the first scene.
Yes.
It's we don't spend all this 20 minutes of like fucking world building.
There was
with no explanation of time.
There were two,
from the second to third
There
movie.
were 2 or 3 moments during that first 15 to 20 minutes that either Jake or I said something like,
"Where's RoboCop?
Gosh, I think he's going to be in the next sequence."
He should be here or here.
When he was chasing the little girl Nico, I think, when the cop was chasing the urban rehab guy whatever. We're like, gee, I wonder if he's... No, it's the terrorist, and she rescues her. And where the fuck is RoboCop? We see fucking Nancy Allen before.
We see Lewis before we see Murphy. Like, what are we doing? Where's RoboCop in RoboCop 3?
And don't forget about how she refers to him as Murphy the entire time until, like, an hour into the movie, and she goes, "Right, Robo?" And he goes, "Call me Murphy."
Yeah.
Who wrote this? Frank, you dick.
Yeah.
Frank Miller wrote this. Shouldn't be writing movies, dude.
He worked on the second one and the third one.
God, you suck.
But
I would have done it too, though.
This movie... But that's some of the things that's so weird about it. We take such a leap from the second movie to the third movie, and we don't really have a description of how much time has passed between those two movies.
No.
We don't know why RoboCop isn't just there from scene one, because he should have been.
Right.
because he just It's weird because you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of The Dark Knight Rises, where how Christopher Nolan, a smart filmmaker, understood how to build up and build that emotional feeling you got when you first saw his Batman, right? And he did that through building towards, it's an old, beaten down Bruce who, like, that last movie really changed him. There's and time told 8 years since that second movie. Like, there's actually a build to his return, and it's done well. And this does a build to his return, but it doesn't make sense because you don't know why.
We don't know if this is a day after RoboCop 2 ended.
Nowhere in that
we don't know.
Of the second movie, there's nothing there to make you think like, oh, this really changed Murphy, because he kills Kane, and that's it, pretty much. And we just go on like, oh, RoboCop's just a thing.
Can we before we move on, let's talk about the unenviable task that Robert Burke, I believe his name is Robert John Burke, professionally now. He's been in a ton of stuff, and he's a really great actor. I like him a lot, actually.
Yeah, scary looking face.
I like him a lot. Most of the stuff I've seen him in, he does a really good job. But this is an unenviable task by a young actor who's trying to get his big break. And honestly, RoboCop 3 comes along, and he gets the part. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do, man?
Now, I got to say this. As far as, like, I know that for a fact, because we've talked about it and researched it so much, that Peter Weller did, like, mime classes and things like that to inform his movements as RoboCop, and he's second to none. Nobody can be RoboCop like Peter Weller, physically, right?
I talked about it. I said
We've talked about it very much.
RoboCop 2. You can't make a RoboCop without Peter Weller.
Well, they did, and let's at least give credit where credit is due for a really shitty movie with a lot of pressure on an actor just kind of trying to start off. He did okay. He got some of the movements down, like the head movements and things. So he did okay. No, again, you can't be Peter Weller, dude. You can't. But for having the shitty job that he kind of had, coming on to the third movie.
You know what this reminds me?
Did he not do okay?
Yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, this movie's just so bad.
It's so hot garbage, dude.
But you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles in Time. That movie is cheaply made. And you can tell it's cheaply made. Just like this movie, you could tell had a small budget. This movie was made for $22 million.
Most of that money went to the computer animations, which were fucking terrible for that time. What was it, 93?
Yeah. So it was originally, I think it was finished in 92, and it was on the shelf until 93.
Can we start talking about how the beginning of the movie? The bad CGI and then the family.
There's like a CGI virtual tour of Delta City. And it's terrible CG. And the kid is clearly in front of a green screen.
When the bomb goes off at the end with the two cyborg dudes,
it's
the same tower.
Android samurai.
Which is supposed to be real, but it's not. It's still the CGI shit that they used in the beginning of the movie.
That's what I mean. You can tell this was made on a tiny budget because it looks like shit.
And quickly, almost. You can tell it was made quickly, too, right?
Yes.
Just get this fucking sequel out.
Because I think 2 came out in 1990.
Yeah, 3 years.
And this went into pre-production in February of 91.
Bad idea.
Quick turnaround. And
that's probably why Weller was like, no, you fucking dicks.
Yeah, and the script is stupid.
It's so stupid.
But yeah.
What else do we want to say shitty about this movie?
Well,
Stephen Root's in it, dude.
What kills me about it is it's almost like a parody of itself.
Yes.
It feels like a parody of RoboCop.
It's trying to be meta. It's trying to be almost too meta about RoboCop to the point where it satirizes RoboCop.
Because where do you...
In his own fucking movie.
Which, I say what you will, again... about RoboCop 2.
There's a line, and they crossed it.
But no, there is a fine line in those first 2 RoboCop movies where you want to take the character as a serious, intimidating hero, but at the same time, he's a vulnerable character. There's layers to it. There's a little bit of seriousness to it. There's still the ridiculous commercials and the satire and all that stuff, and those first two movies work because they understand the blending of the tone. They understand that that's what you have to do to make this character work. And this movie just goes full-blown parody. Like, it's insane.
Here's the moment exactly. Okay, so at one point, I literally tell Jake, like, if you don't fucking start fast-forwarding this, I can't do it.
It's so bad.
Within, like, I think 45 minutes, it's like, I have to... Okay, we'll watch the end of the movie, right? So
this movie is unbearably long.
Yes.
Why is this movie 2 hours?
So we keep fast-forwarding, but we keep getting commercials, right? So at certain points, we're watching it on Pluto TV, and we can't fast-forward through commercials. So occasionally, as we're fast-forwarding, it will just stop, and we'll see a bit of the movie, and we can't help ourselves, right? And there's this part where RoboCop...
Oh, well, sorry. This movie's an hour 45, so
it was an hour 59 with all the commercials.
Yeah.
57, whatever.
Probably could have watched it on Prime, but...
Yeah, way to go,
I
Dick.
think you can only find it on Pluto, to be honest. Anyway. I'm not...
So there's this bit where Dr. Lazarus finds RoboCop at the terrorist compound and rescues him.
By the way, here's the plot lines. We've got...
Do we have to...
We've got some...
Yeah.
We have a Japanese corporation taking over OCP, right?
Yep.
So because of that, we also have... They're working on...
a brute squad that's clearing out the fucking people.
Time out.
Shit.
That Japanese corporation also has android fucking samurais. Apparently. Then the company that's
Which
working
we don't see
with
the second act.
the hit squad that's working with the Japanese company called the Rehab Crew.
But they're apparently under the thing of OCP. It's so unnecessary.
This is a movie about like fucking squatters' rights and eminent domain and fucking gentrification. The movie, this is the problem too. Those other two movies threaded the needle without saying things outright. They make this Rehab Crew fucking blatantly obvious that it's a Nazi squad. And at one point, a character calls them Nazis. It's like, we get it.
Also,
we get it.
You know, you're talking about threading the needle. At one point during the movie, they do somehow get Casey Wong back. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's like the media break guy, is what they keep calling him. And he goes, "This just in. RoboCop has now apparently joined the terrorist side." And it's like...
He's now a wanted criminal.
Yeah, you don't
Armed
have to
danger.
tell us that. No, so this is where the movie satirizes itself. It is so...
It keeps going too far for me.
So they rescue him. He's sitting in the chair. Nico is playing around, the little girl or whatever, and she goes and starts talking to him and stuff. And this is where he remembers that he had looked up her parents. Remember this part?
Yeah.
And he's petting her like a cat.
Oh my God. This little girl Nico throughout this whole movie.
Tell it, man. Finish the telling about the scene, because you could tell it better, I think.
Okay. So he's like, this is after they take his memories away, right?
Yeah. So he's
at
regaining
one point
them,
we
right?
have remember, if you need a weird sarcastic sleazeball in this time period,
Bradley Whitford
did it in
Billy
Madison, did it in The West Wing. He was more likable on The West Wing, but did it on The West Wing. He's a sarcastic asshole, and he does it here. Which I will say, 1 point for this movie. I love how when he's around Rip Torn, who is just devouring scenery in this movie.
Right, he has to.
I love that when he's in his presence and he's getting yelled at, he's sheepish. But then when he's talking to this scientist,
Your
he is
legendary ass.
He says horribly sexist.
He actually says to her "I want you and your legendary ass." And it's like, sweet. He likes to call her sweet cheeks.
So we follow this girl Nico because her family is. By the way, her dad comes into the room to talk to her because she can't sleep.
Almost gets killed by
her
her
dad.
fucking...
What was the tone? The tone was like he was going to beat this kid if they didn't go to sleep, right? He sounded like really weirdly aggressive. And so she's like, "What? I can't sleep. Is all what's happening true?" And he's like, "No, this is your home." And then a wrecking ball completely
almost kills him. Almost kills him.
And then all this like bombs and shit and chaos because Rehab is clearing out all these residents because now OCP owns it, which actually I think was continuing the plot line from the last movie.
It's just so convoluted how he gets to how we get to this point where he's talking to this little girl, and he knows that her parents are dead, but she doesn't.
Right.
And he has to tell her somehow, but he does. Like,
by the way, we see the parents.
the memories. Yeah.
That is the first thing we see in this movie. Nico is the first thing we see in this
yes.
movie.
This
and
is the
her
first.
family.
The first sequence is about her
So
and her
now we know,
family in
this
Detroit.
is how we find out they're dead, and we're like, oh wow,
Right.
And it's because he puts his little spike in the database and finds it out. So then it gets revealed, and we're sitting there, you and I are sitting there watching it, and it's like,
Oh wow.
oh god. So he has a moment where he's like, there's a pause.
Your parents. Do you remember them?
Do you remember them? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, I paused, and I just out loud go, well, they're fucking dead. Like, because that's what I was waiting for him to say.
And he says,
But no, he doesn't. He says, well, if you remember them, they're never really lost.
they're never really gone.
They're never really gone. And you and I both groaned because what is that doing in a RoboCop movie?
Well, okay.
What?
Again,
What are we doing?
In
then
the-
he
in the-
takes his hand while she is laying on his lap,
steel fucking leg. Yeah, that's a great pillow for a kid.
and then puts his hand slowly down and then begins to pet her like an animal.
Which again, he did great with the movements, right? Dude, but
and then he tells
in
her,
the first two in the first two movies, it is shown that Murphy is still a part of RoboCop enough to the
Yes.
point where he's compassionate. Murphy was a good dude, and he became a cop to protect the he
became a cop for the right reasons.
right, exactly. Thank you. And this is a way for them to continue that, even though we already know this from two fucking movies already. Like, you don't need this moment in this movie. You don't need this character Nico.
No.
You do.
There's
So much
there's a-
extraneous bullshit in this movie.
there's a better,
And don't get us started on the jetpack.
oh, we'll get there.
Oh, we will. We'll get there.
There's nothing wrong, and there's a way that you could do him building a relationship with this little girl
Sure.
without something like that. It's
As
just
tragic
a weird
as all
scene.
that. Let's write a story where this fictional girl gets her parents killed. Well, I know that. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah.
I know that characters.
Now you're too quiet.
I know that characters in stories are not real. Okay, I'm aware of this. I also know that creators sometimes think that they're more real than whatever. I know this character in RoboCop 3 is not a real person, but if they were, you needlessly sacrificed her parents as a fucking plot point
To pet her like
to, you know what I
pet.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking hacky fucking writing. That's shitty fucking writing. You wrote yourself into a corner. Did Eric July write this?
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
Sloppy. It was sloppy.
Nice.
Sloppy.
All right.
We just can't help talking about him. We love him.
Dude,
You know that's what he thinks.
Not this
he thinks
episode-
we keep talking about him because we love
come
him.
Tuesday, I got some juicy stuff to talk about.
You want me to come on Tuesday?
Come on Tuesday. What?
Sloppy.
Well,
Jesus.
I'm so sorry.
Sloppy.
Our producer's off this weekend.
Yeah.
The one who kicks our ass if we do shit like that.
Getting out. I don't even know what else to say. Oh, so
The jetpack.
the jetpack. We got to talk about the jetpack because what are we doing?
Wait, before we went on this little tangent, I'm sure we were talking about something, weren't we? Shit. No,
No,
jetpack.
we were finishing up this whole
Good.
Nico stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And like explaining that there was a way to show him they did it in the first movies. They showed ways to give him emotion and give him humanity that made sense and worked. Is again without this reassures me that the second movie isn't bad because this one is so fucking terrible.
Yes.
So
Ugh.
he finally
The second one looks like
he gets
fucking
into a fight.
Citizen Kane, dude.
Looks like a Mad Max 2. Like it was like a cyberpunk Mad Max that just threw up on the screen. And so like the resistance fighters are going to fight the OCP
Yeah.
and then the rehab.
The
All
splatter punks.
the splatter punks and the OCP are fucking. God damn it!
We're not going to
splatter punks.
No, I don't
no,
wanna
no,
get
no.
it. Okay.
We're not going into it. It's just a
Good.
stupid fucking
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So
and bad costuming and bad hair.
God.
We you know what?
No, well, we gotta get this done. We gotta get this done.
Our budget for hair and makeup was fucking huge. Not so much for the CGI.
Couldn't hire good writers, but we got some really good fucking makeup.
We were grabbing people off the street. Can you do hair and makeup?
Oh,
good.
dude, can we briefly,
Yes,
talk
anything you
about
want.
her Nico somehow knowing how to fucking
Disable
Hack into-
Ed 209.
hack into an Ed 209 because she had a model of it and just hacked into it and made it loyal as a puppy.
If you want to talk about exposition being done well, okay? One of the things is when they showed her room and they showed the model being taken, the model that was taken apart of the Ed 209, and then they showed her like sleeping when her dad came in and almost get killed by the wrecking ball, which is the same scene, by the way.
Also,
here's
there's a
what we're gonna
crying
do.
baby in the other room who gave me.
We never know about what happened. to her.
Where's that baby?
Just dead,
Oh my god.
I guess.
Dude, I think they forgot that they put those baby
Maybe.
noises in. Oh, I go, fuck. I hope nobody notices that there was a baby in this.
Can we take out the baby noises at the beginning? No, it's not
It's
possible.
too late. The movie's out.
Well, we can't put any in at the end, so fuck it. Nobody will know.
Which makes it even weirder.
Well, only 12 people will watch this
Hey,
movie.
sorry your whole entire family died, include your 6-month-old fucking... They didn't think about that. They didn't think about it.
And why kill off her parents? Why can't you reunite? What's wrong with you?
Why not?
What is wrong with you, Frank Miller? You fucking dick.
You didn't kill him with the wrecking ball, then you're not... If this would have been the real... Also, we have to address this. It's PG-13. What
Oh,
the
God.
fuck? No. No.
Loyal as a puppy.
Fuck this.
Eat lead,
Fuck.
suckers.
Man, I didn't want to hate this movie as much as I do, because
It's so fucking
because
bad.
I enjoyed the second movie so much, and I
Yes.
was hoping I could enjoy this one and find something. But it's just bad. So let's get to the jetpack. We got to get to the jetpack.
Yes, but before we move on,
No, we gotta
no,
go.
just real quick. No, we have time. I just
In
wanna-
hell we do.
I just want to say that I think we both came to this movie kind of like thinking it can't be that bad because
Right.
we had never really we
Seen
had
it.
never really seen it, either one of us.
I don't remember any of it.
Not really, no.
The only thing
maybe previews or whatever, but
I only remember the jetpack.
yes, but the sequence of the jetpack is so fucking bad.
So he fights the first android samurai.
No, can we talk about where they get the jetpack? Is when they raid the police army, or like in the
Yes.
beginning of the
Yeah.
movie, the armory, the police armory, and get that. What is it? I don't know. It looks expensive.
Yeah.
And then he sees it after the splatter punks take away all the terrorists, and you see him looking off at it like, "Ooh, I'm gonna put it on."
Remember when he got set on fire for no reason?
And all of his organic material
just-
isn't just burnt to
Like
a
a
crisp.
cartoon had soot on his face. Oh my god.
And I know enough about movie stunts and being set on fire and shit to know that
Somebody was on fire.
to set somebody on fire for like 10 seconds of film is incredibly intensive and extensive and expensive. Okay?
And you better make it important and worth
Yes, you literally cannot set somebody on fire for more than 10 seconds, even with like full bodysuit.
Yeah.
And this guy did not have it. You know what I mean? He had his
Yeah.
face. God, are we into the jetpack yet?
Yeah, so
We keep finding stupid
Yeah.
shit.
so he fights
Stupid.
he fights the first android samurai, blows its head off,
Yeah.
and then has to get down to the fight between the splatterpunks and the OCP and the rehab. So he's got to get into there and break it all up quickly.
He has to do it quick.
Looks over, sees.
In the foreground, you see this thing.
Wait a minute. This fight, we got before we even get to the jetpack. The fight right before the jetpack, where he fights that android samurai. I said, "Wait a minute," because this is egregious. It cuts his arm off. The samurai
Yes.
android cuts
Oh
its
my
arm
God.
off, and then
It's-
for flair, no other reason, just to be a dick, runs to the end of the room
Yeah.
and then starts to swing two samurai swords real fast at him. And in that time, comically, and I mean comically.
Like it's literally next to
There's
him.
a machine gun
hand.
arm that he's had throughout this whole movie.
He doesn't have to reach for it even. It's just
It's right next to him, and that android didn't think or see the gun right there.
Also, if he's that fast, he should have noticed that happening and moved out of the
That's
way
how he
before
kills him.
Yes.
So he puts down and blows his head off. So then he finds the jetpack. And he flies that fucking jetpack to the
Holy
fight.
shit,
And it
does
is
he
the
ever.
ugliest, terrible.
I saw it. Okay, so at this point, I had a cigarette. I couldn't stand this movie anymore. I'm like, I'm having a cigarette. I don't care. But I knew the jetpack's coming up.
So
and
he
I'm-
watched it from the outside.
And it was so, like, I had no idea. Thank God for your brand new, like, huge TV. Because I did not know how obvious it was that he was, like,
Dude.
I thought he was just going to, like, come down, like, on like, wires.
Here's the insane
can't-
thing about it.
I didn't know he was going to shoot all over the
I think it-
fucking street
I-
and shit.
I think because we're getting such high quality picture with like 4K TVs nowadays, it upreses these movies with streams, and I think this higher resolution shows
How
the
bad
blemishes
this shit.
even
Oh
more.
my God, yes.
Because I swear, watching it on a more clear picture, you see how bad it looks. You're like, oh my God.
When you see the original, like, unedited Star Wars on 4K, you can see, like, the shapes of the models trailing afterwards. You can on original, like, prints. But there's a division of Lucasfilm, Disney Plus, whatever, that is like, hey, as technology advances, our job is to make sure you still can't see those little... You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the way that they had to move shit around in any other iteration, you can't see that, you know, the little telltale signs.
Yeah.
Which is why Star Wars is so great.
So the big
Why
client.
RoboCop 3 sucks ass.
So he flies into the top of this tower.
which is also a bad sequence when he flies
that
through
has
the window.
has the Nazi rehab
Yeah.
leader, and
McDaggett, not a real
McDaggett.
name. Not a real name.
Nico and the scientists are all in the top of this tower that we talked about. That was at the beginning of the first movie. They have a fight.
Sort of.
So he lands, and the flying itself was so bad, and so cutting from the flying back to him is just unbelievably jarring.
Well, but on
And
the
him
one
crashing through the window
so bad.
was unbelievably bad. It was so slow.
It was like the glass broke before he hit it.
Yes,
That
almost.
kind of badness. Oh, the fucking pimp car. The pimp.
Oh my God, we almost forgot about that. So he has to chase this bus, and he lost his car. So he walks up, and there's this dude that's like this pimp talking to a prostitute,
Yes.
and he just
Oh.
like, I'm going to need to
Oh.
commandeer your vehicle. It takes this pink Cadillac knockoff pimp mobile, and he's going. It's like a video game. He's taking damage, and as he's chasing them, they keep blowing off parts of this car.
Like pieces. This
So
guy.
it's just a frame on wheels.
This guy is shooting a grenade launcher at this fucking Cadillac, and like first shot, the hood blows off. Second shot, the front of the front
completely
of the
gone.
car falls
back
off.
is gone.
But dude, one shot from an actual grenade launcher, and this Cadillac is destroyed.
And this car
in real life.
this
God.
bus is barreling down towards
Oh.
these like kids playing hockey in the
Yes.
street.
Oh my
They
god.
get the kids out of the street, but as RoboCop's in pursuit, the bad guy McDaggett throws money out the back of
So
the car.
all the kids get
all
back
kids-
into the street.
all the poor kids jump. I'm like, Jesus, man. So he has to
Also,
like
by the
turn
way,
and
if you're
miss all
playing
the kids.
if you're playing street hockey in the street and you got all that
Street
equipment,
hockey in the street.
if you're playing hockey in the street with rollerblades and shit, and you got all that equipment, those are not the poor kids.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the kids who are going to play lacrosse at
shit.
Duke. You know what I mean?
So the final fight, RoboCop just gets fucked up, and the only way that stops it is because Nico hacks into the system and makes the android samurais kill themselves.
We didn't even talk about
chop their heads
the
off.
face mask of the other.
Oh, he
android.
shoots one of them in the face.
just enough to break his face so that we can tell which one is different. Also, we can't tell.
It's a headpiece because
Yes.
his face never changes. So that happens.
They can't afford the camera work to make the same guy look
They
like
chop
one
each other's
guy.
heads off, and then McDaggett's like, "You idiots! There was a trigger tied to their life, so if they die, a bomb
Why?
goes off."
Why?
Don't know why.
You don't need that sequence. Listen.
So then he says, we're all dead," and RoboCop goes, "Not today, chum."
He
rolls over onto this
perfectly.
jetpack, hops up, hovers this jetpack like 2 feet from the ground, scoops up the scientist, scoops up Nico, and flies out of the building.
It's super
explodes.
fast, and they don't all die.
What a movie. What a movie.
So I'm a shitty writer, and I can't figure out how to get all the good guys out of the top of that building.
Jetpack.
And I can't figure out how to get RoboCop to the fight in the first place.
Jetpack. Also, can we talk about the titles card for
Oh,
this movie?
God.
3.
RoboCop 3.
Just in case you forget.
You thought this was just 3? This movie was called 3? Well, you're wrong.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I did not expect it to be as bad as it was. It was bad. Brutal.
I expected some, okay, this is not good, but not to this level. This was... I honestly did feel bad for a lot of the actors, because a lot of the actors in it have gone on to pretty good careers. And you know that a lot of them are taking it. Like Stephen Root especially, this is 93. His first like real recurring role was in news radio, and that started like 96. So, dude, this is when he's still trying to break out, you know?
Yeah.
And he's doing his best. But he's got some real shitty material to work with, man.
Hey, you know, I will say this about RoboCop 1 and 2. Neither of those movies had me really like in a moment where I'm like,
oh, fuck you.
But this movie, multiple times, especially when he's talking about her parents to
Oh,
Nico.
my God.
That whole scene, I'm like,
oh, fuck you.
yeah. It.
So let's talk about some more shitty entertainment.
RoboCop 3.
You are nothing but garbage, yeah. Nothing but garbage, Gaina.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.